Hi, good evening and welcome to SF Live. I'm your host, Christina Marie Flores. Tonight we have a wonderful organization with us here in the studio. It is called ROC, which stands for Real Options for City Kids. We have two of the members right with us tonight, Curt Yagi and Fati Farmanfarmaian.
Farmanfarmaian.
Farmanfarmaian. Yes, I got that. Knew I would get that wrong. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Thanks for having us.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about ROC. What is it that you actually do?
Yeah, so ROC, like you said, we've been around for 14 years. Our focus is on sports, fitness, and outdoor adventures. It serves kids in Visitation Valley, which I can tell you a little bit later, which is it's a low-income, high-violence neighborhood. We basically bring kids in, give them positive experiences, and hopefully they'll have positive adult outcomes when they grow up.
Okay.
It's great.
Okay, now you said Visitation Valley.
That's right.
Could, for any of us San Franciscans who may not have known where that is, can you explain where that is in the city?
Yeah, it's funny because Visitation Valley, for some reason, it's not in the news too much, but for bad reasons, it comes up in the news.
Is it near the Cow Palace?
It's really close to the Cow Palace.
Okay.
So in between the Cow Palace and Highway 101, there's a little pocket of land, which is Visitation Valley. And it's a tough area to grow up. It's beautiful. It's got some great weather, very sunny, and the only downside is there's 4 public housing developments and a lot of low-income families, a lot of single parents raising kids, a lot of grandparents raising kids, and so the opportunity for role models and positive experiences just is lacking in that neighborhood.
Now, there is a lot of crime in that neighborhood. There always has been. Has that gotten any better lately, or is it still pretty crime infested?
It's pretty crime infested. It's tough when you're, and I think now with the economy, I think you might see a little bit more even as we go forward. But ever since we've been there, it's been tough. From my office, I've heard gunshots before in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
So it's really it's very dangerous. And these are families that are living right in the middle of it. I'm lucky. I do live in San Francisco, but I don't live in Visitation Valley. So at night, I don't have to worry about hearing gunshot noises in the middle of the night, whereas a lot of our kids talk to us about that like it's nothing. It's just a part of their everyday life.
Yeah, one of the things that actually attracted me to join ROC as a board member was when I first saw the kids. I mean, there's this little girl, 5 years old, who talks to me as if, oh yeah, I saw, my father, get shot in front of me, as if it was normal, as if it's, everyday life. So that really gets to you. It really talked to me.
That's
heartbreaking.
amazing.
Yeah.
Very heartbreaking.
That is so normal for them as part of their life.
And
It's
they don't
everyday
know
life.
anything better, so.
It's I had Jacob Moody in here from the Bayview Hunters Point Association Foundation, and he was saying that a lot of people are saying there's post-traumatic stress. He goes, in my neighborhood, it's now traumatic stress. And they're dealing with things that are topics and things to deal with that kids should not have to see.
That's right.
Or,
Exactly.
Make normal in their life. So is that how ROC got started, the fact that there were a lot of kids that were missing the parental roles or people to really encourage them and be there for them?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly why it started. And it's very interesting, the history of ROC. I am actually not the founder. Our founder, 14, 15 years ago, she was actually working with homeless adult men. And she was trying to figure out what they had in common to get to where they were today. And while that's pretty difficult to do, one thing she found is that there was definitely a lack of positive role models in their lives when they were children. And so same thing as in Visitation Valley, where you don't have a lot of the positive people or experiences out there. What they see on TV might be their role model. We felt we needed to fit that void and have positive role models. So we started with our founder. She was really into soccer, so she wanted to combine soccer with learning enrichment for elementary school kids, and it just grew from there and serves the need.
That's now sports is a big part of what you do.
Yes.
And what does sports bring to a child in this living situation that empowers them?
Oh, it's great. Sports, for me, this is a perfect job because I grew up with sports. I love it. I think the whole idea of team-based sports, that's all we do is team-based sports. For example, soccer, basketball, volleyball, those type of sports. Just the idea of learning to get along and work with each other, sharing the ball, realizing that it's not necessarily an individual effort that's going to, help you excel in sports. You got to work together.
Yeah, teamwork.
Teamwork, it's great.
It's a lesson for life. And
That's right.
And leadership development as well.
Exactly.
so you put different people in charge of the teams and in charge of being there in soccer and that and playing different positions? Is that how?
Yeah, you should actually come out one of these days.
Okay,
And check it out.
I'm gonna get myself some soccer cleats.
It's pretty interesting how it works. Just to give you an example, and sports and fitness, that's just a small part of what we do. On a Saturday, one of our big programs is for our elementary school kids, and it's sports clinics where we might have 40 kids coming together. Sometimes we've had 40 adult volunteers as well. It's been great.
Oh, so the ratio is
The ratio
amazing.
is unbelievable.
Yeah,
Especially on Saturdays.
What is that usually?
During the week, well, if you average it out through the year, it's about between one adult for every 3 to 5 kids. But on weekends, It's more like 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. Just because we do pretty well with getting volunteers out.
We have an amazing volunteer base.
You must. My God, that's unheard of. That you have that much private time between the adult and the child. Yeah.
And we could always use more.
And I think for a lot of these kids, that's probably the most face time they've had with an adult in a long time, and that's sad. But, and my question to you is, okay, you have the kids from this area. You have people coming in from the marina, from the Sunset.
Right.
How do they deal with adults coming in that don't know their life?
Yeah.
That are trying to help. Do you get some resistance ever?
Well, it's interesting. I'll let you you might have a different experience, but with, it depends on the age group. And so with the elementary school kids, we have volunteers coming in all the time, and they just love seeing adults. And so it doesn't matter who you are, you just get that instant love. They want to hug you, they want to jump on your back. Sometimes it's a little much, but it's how it works. As you get older, middle schoolers, pretty much with any adult, they're a little bit, it takes a while to break down that barrier and get in there. High school is a little bit of the same. And so there you do see that how it's tough for them to accept you coming from their outside world. But with our volunteers, a lot of them stay over the course of a year. And that's really where you make the progress, and then they get attached to you, and then you can have those great conversations. So I don't know how it's been with your
I've actually
experience.
only worked with the elementary school kids.
So you're with the ones that love you.
Exactly. I love kids. I mean, when I see them, I just melt. So so my experience has pretty much been what Curt just described. I mean, they just hang on to you. I mean, they're excited to see a new face. And they make you feel like you might be like the big cousin or the big aunt. So it's really, I mean, your heart just breaks. I mean, when you see them, it just melts.
And I've had some experience working with kids before, and just knowing that at one point they did some computer graphic thing, and I just went over and gave him a hug, and I said, "That is amazing. You are so good at that." And he looked up, and I realized for the first time I saw in his eyes that no one had ever given him that pat on the back or that verbal, reinforcement. That it was amazing to me that kids can grow up without having that, just some adult behind them, or someone that's there to tell them you did a good job, or that was a really good goal, whatever. And it must just melt them. I mean, just let them come out of their shell, and you must see that a lot.
We see that all the time. I mean, that's really what it's all about, is just providing the positivity in their lives.
And how about the volunteers that do volunteer for you? Do you see a change in them too? I mean, to come in there and say, okay, I'm doing something good for society, and they'll come in and I'll help the kids. Do you see them turn and realize why it is they're volunteering and what they've done?
Oh yeah, and for a lot of our programs, especially even with the volunteers who just come for a couple times to the volunteers that come for a while, they see the instant results, and it's very gratifying to them. And I remember when I first started, I actually started off as a volunteer. When I started coming to Rock, I'd come on Saturday mornings, and I felt like I was getting more out of it than the kids were, and I felt guilty about that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I realize now that I shouldn't, because it's not only the kids getting a lot out of this. Obviously, it's the volunteers as well. It's just that sense of fulfillment and just doing something good.